What does it take to become a K-pop idol? It's thought that only a tiny fraction of K-pop trainees, less than 1%, ever make their debut. In this video, we'll dive deep into the lives of a group of K-pop idols who've had it rough on their journey to success, exploring the hardships they had to go through and how they fought against the odds to make their dreams of becoming a K-pop legend come true. Ready to dive in? Let's go! Starting us off, we have IU. From the outside, IU's rise to fame may seem like a fairy tale, but in reality, her life has been a roller coaster of ups and downs. Born Lee Ji-woong in Seoul, IU's early childhood was filled with struggle and instability. You see, IU's parents, deeply in debt, could not afford to raise both her and her younger brother, so they sent IU to go and stay with her grandmother in a small studio apartment. For over a year, she lived with her grandmother and her cousin, often without proper meals. But during this time, IU found a lot of comfort in the warmth of her grandmother's love, as well as her passion for singing. Reportedly, IU tried out auditioning for more than 20 entertainment companies, only to be turned away from every single one. To make matters worse, IU ended up getting scammed by fake agencies that took her money after promising to make her a trainee and then bailing with her cash. But IU never gave up. Eventually, she got a real opportunity at Good Entertainment, and later signed with LOEN Entertainment. During this time, the company's practice rooms became her safe haven. In 2011, IU told the Korea Jungang Daily, "I found consolation in the fact that my grandmother was with me. Also, as my house wasn't so comfortable, I loved being at the studio where I had to practice. It was warm, had a bed, and I could eat as much as I wanted." Even then, her big K-pop debut wasn't exactly the huge break she had dreamed of. IU released her first single, Lost Child, which could later become iconic. But at the time, instead of applause, she was met with insults from the audience during her first live performance. Despite being awarded the Rookie of the Month award by Korea's Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism, IU's debut failed commercially. But IU saw the failure as a lesson rather than a defeat, telling Korea Jungang Daily that "My first album failed, but I'm grateful for that. If I had become successful as soon as I made my debut, I wouldn't appreciate my staff members and the popularity that I'm enjoying now. The people around me have helped me make my album and have given me advice on clothing, but in the end, I'm the only one standing in the spotlight." Determined to become a star, instead of throwing in the towel after her first album wasn't the success she had hoped for, IU continued to work hard and explore different musical styles. A year later, she released her first studio album, titled Growing Up, which came with the single Boo. Although the youthful, energetic image wasn't comfortable for her, this comeback marked the beginning of her steady rise in the industry. Despite the challenge she faced with the cute image that she felt pressured to fit in, IU rose through the industry on her own terms, eventually creating a unique and one-of-a-kind musical identity that did her true artistry justice. Today, IU is known as the wealthiest female idol singer in all of Korea, with a net worth of around $55 million. What's more, a few weeks ago, IU was crowned as the #1 artist in Korea by Billboard, writing, "From making music to acting on screen, IU can seemingly do it all, and she commands unparalleled love and support from K-pop fans and the broader Korean music community." IU's success is proof of her talent and her refusal to be defined by others, which have made her one of the most respected artists in South Korean music history. Up next, we have Leeteuk, the leader of the chart-topping SM group Super Junior. Known for his bright smile and positive energy, it's difficult to imagine the hardships he has gone through to be where he is now. Growing up in a struggling low-income family, Leeteuk and his older sister, singer and actress Park In-young, were raised in a home filled with conflict. Despite these difficulties, Leeteuk was determined to rise above his circumstances and become an entertainer. However, despite his success in Super Junior, the most devastating tragedy came in 2014 while he was fulfilling his mandatory military service. During this time, Leeteuk got the news that his father and grandparents, who'd been struggling with dementia, had passed away after his father took his parents' lives before taking his own. The story became headline news around the world as Leeteuk himself had to come to terms with the painful loss. However, long before this tragedy, Leeteuk had faced a different disaster, one that almost took his own life. What happened was that in April of 2007, a horrific car accident happened while the members of Super Junior were heading back home after a radio recording. While on the highway, the Super Junior members' van's tyre burst, causing it to hit a guardrail, flip over, and skid for about 30 minutes. While some members were lucky enough to only get minor injuries, Leeteuk and Kyuhyun took the worst of the impact. Kyuhyun, who had been sitting in the driver's seat, was in a coma for 4 days. His condition so critical the doctors weren't sure if he would survive. Kyuhyun later told the Asia Business Daily newspaper about this time. "I was in such a critical condition that the doctor said I needed immediate surgery. But even if I underwent a major operation that would cut through my throat, I had about 20% or less chance to live. Thankfully, they were able to find an alternative operation to save both Kyuhyun's life and his singing voice." As for Leeteuk, he had deep wounds that needed over 170 stitches. With glass shards stuck in his face and back, he was rushed to the hospital for intensive treatment. The pain was unbearable, but Leeteuk refused to let the setback define him. Leeteuk's life story is all about resilience, proof that even when life throws the worst at you, you can push through. And Leeteuk didn't just survive, he turned his difficulties into energy to keep going and inspire others. As for 5th Gen idols with tough come-up stories, ZEROBASEONE Kim Ji-woong's path to stardom had also been anything but easy. Dreaming of becoming a top K-pop idol, Ji-woong first debuted in 2016 as a member of the boy group INX. While the debut should have been the start of a great career for Ji-woong and the other members, behind the scenes things were far from perfect. The group ended up disbanding barely a year later, and in 2018, Kim Ji-woong and his fellow INX members took legal action against their agency, accusing them of mistreatment. In the lawsuit, the members mentioned that the company had had the members pay for their own makeup and styling costs, as well as even things like food, with the company telling the members, "You won't die just because you skipped a meal." On top of covering costs out of their own pocket, the INX members weren't being paid for any of their work. Taking the case to the Seoul District Court, the court ruled in their favour, freeing them from the unfair contract. But while winning the lawsuit was a victory, it also left Kim Ji-woong right back where he started. Determined to not give up, Kim Ji-woong joined a new group called 18, under the stage name King. Although to the outside the group showed a lot of promise, again behind the scenes, things were far from how they seemed, to say the least, especially when 6 of the 10 members came forward with shocking allegations against their CEO, accusing her of sexual assault, reportedly groping and assaulting the members while at the company dinner in Japan. What's more, the members were also being cruelly physically and verbally abused by the CEO, leaving the 18 members in such a bad state that they had to undergo psychiatric treatment, as the members were all severely overworked, with some even having insomnia. By 2019, 18 had split, and Kim Ji-woong was again without a group for the second time. After briefly working as a model, Ji-woong and fellow 18 members Segun, Joel and Rookie got together and were seemingly going to be debuting as a group called BIT. However, after promoting for a second in Japan, this group also disbanded quickly. Every time Ji-woong got close to reaching his dream, it felt like something always came along to snatch it away. By the end of 2022, Kim Ji-woong was finally making a name for himself in acting, but he still had his eye on his biggest dream, becoming an idol. So he decided to take a shot in the dark and join Boys Planet, Mnet's high-stake idol survival show. Instantly from the first episode, Kim Ji-woong stood out with his radiating star power and bold personality. After fighting for his spots week after week, his determination paid off, and on April 20th, 2023, Kim Ji-woong placed 8th in the final episode, securing his place in the debut lineup of ZEROBASEONE. After years of setbacks, betrayals, and disappointments, Ji-woong finally re-debuted in July, and since then, ZEROBASEONE and Kim Ji-woong have gone on to have incredible success in Korea and around the world, even achieving the Rookie Grand Slam. Kim Ji-woong's story proved that there is power in the ability to get up each time you fall, and to never give up while chasing your dreams. Next on our list is 21 star Sandara Park. Born in Busan, Sandara and her family, which includes her brother and fellow K-pop idol Thunder of M-Black, moved to the Philippines when she was just 10 years old in hopes of her father rebuilding his career in the new country. Although adjusting wasn't easy, Dara was determined, so she worked hard to perfect her Tagalog. Dreaming of becoming a celebrity, that wish became a reality when Filipino actress Pauline Luna encouraged Dara to join ABS-CBN's talent show, Star Circle Quest, in 2004. With her undeniable charm and talent, she quickly won the hearts of Filipinos and won second place after getting about 500,000 votes. Soon, she was starring in movies and television series, as well as releasing music, with her debut album Sandara selling over 100,000 copies. For a while, it seemed like everything was falling into place. However, her father, who had been managing her finances, had a dark secret. He was gambling away all of her hard-earned money. Worse, he reportedly had a second family in Korea, and it's rumoured that he left Dara, her mother and her siblings, taking what little was left of their savings. What's more, with her dad getting arrested in the Philippines after not paying back a business loan, Dara's popularity took a hit, and she started to get fewer and fewer opportunities. Sandara revealed once, "My brother, Thunder, recently shared on air, reflecting on our time in the Philippines, I can't help but think about what Dara must have been going through. I didn't fully grasp it at the time, but as time passed, it started to sink in." Reading an article about this brought me to tears. Just when things seemed bad, YG Entertainment, one of South Korea's top music agencies, came knocking with a chance for Sandara to become a K-pop trainee. Without hesitation, Dara grabbed the opportunity. Moving back to South Korea, in 2009 she debuted as a member of 21. With their powerful performances and game-changing music, 21 became one of the biggest K-pop groups of all time, with even Rolling Stone calling them undeniably one of the most influential acts of their generation. Not only was the group successful, but the members were like family to Dara. For example, during a promo trip to Japan with 21 in 2011, Dara found herself suddenly caught in the devastating Tohoku earthquake and tsunami, and was saved by none other than CL. You see, that day Sandara hadn't been feeling well and stayed back in their hotel room on the 34th floor when the quake struck. Realizing the situation, she called CL, who rushed up the stairs in the middle of the earthquake to help her. Together, they made it down 34 floors to safety. Today, Dara's journey serves as an inspiration to dreamers everywhere, as 21 has become a bona fide icon, and Dara herself is known around the world for her stage presence and insane talent. Another second-generation girl group idol who had to go through more than her fair share of hardships was Goo Hara. Born in Gwangju, when Hara was only 8 years old, her mother abandoned her family, and with her father constantly away working construction jobs, Hara and her brother were raised by their grandmother. After joining the girl group Hara and the other members found immense success, becoming one of the top artists in the industry. However, even with her career taking off, Hara faced a series of hard struggles all throughout her difficult life. For one, in September of 2018, she was violently assaulted by her then-boyfriend, hairdresser Choi Jong-boom. What happened was that, after drinking all night, Choi Jong-boom broke into Hara's home, where the two had a fight that quickly turned into physical violence. When the story got to law enforcement, Choi Jong-boom threatened Hara by saying that he'd destroy her career by releasing an explicit video of her without her consent. As the news of this video was released and netizens watched the following court case unfold, Goo Hara got immense online harassment and scrutiny, despite being the victim of blackmail and abuse. Although Choi Jong-boom ended up in prison, the case was understandably incredibly traumatic for Hara. Outside among regular Korean women, Goo Hara's story resonated with many living in a country where sexual crimes are, to this day, far too common. In fact, her story led to the Blue House receiving a petition signed by 200,000 people, demanding more severe punishments for sexual crimes, amongst other requests. What's more, last year it came out that Goo Hara had also played a big hand in helping the Burning Sun/KakaoTalk chatroom investigations, providing the investigative reporter with key information and details about the case, even when she knew it could involve and lead to the deserved arrest of some of her longtime friends. The reporter told BBC, "Hara appeared and opened the door for me. Hara helped Jong-hoon, one of the A-list culprits of the case, to admit it. She was a very brave woman. These are just a few of the painful difficulties Goo Hara had faced in her tragically short life. But while Goo Hara is often mentioned in connection to the challenges of her life, she deserved to be remembered not just for the hardships she endured, but also for the incredible person she was. Altogether, Hara was more than just a talented artist. She was a brave, resilient, and determined person who stood up time and time again for what was right, no matter how hard things got. It's hard to picture someone as confident and charismatic as TVXQ's ever struggling. But it turns out he had quite the uphill battle to become the idol he is today. Growing up in Gwangju, was surrounded by people that worked in the legal industry, and he even dreamed of being as a prosecutor as a kid. However, his family was hit hard by the 1997 Asian financial crisis, and so, with money being tight and his family being against his choice to go after music, had to grow up fast, taking on a lot of responsibilities and even more part-time jobs. Through it all, dance became his escape. But then, as he was working and training tirelessly to debut, developed a sudden and severe hormonal imbalance in his throat that needed surgery, which damaged his vocal cords and made singing impossible. Feeling like this was the final blow, according to he had considered quitting and going permanently back to Gwangju. Though he had managed to regain his voice, according to once after his debut, he relapsed. While appearing on KBS2's story show Do Dream, he told the story, saying, "I had more than 40 to 50 inflammations in my throat, mouth, and nose. My agency tried to stop me because I wanted to do my best on stage. However, even though my throat condition could have gotten worse, I paralyzed my throat and went on stage." In 2003, he officially debuted as a leader of TVXQ, one of the most influential K-pop groups in history. One of the first groups to fully utilize and find the power in their legion of millions of fans around the world, TVXQ also had a lot of haters. And in 2006, while filming for a variety show, was forced to be rushed to the hospital after an anti-fan gave him a drink that had been laced with superglue. After drinking the toxic drink, was suffering from intense pain and shock. But despite the girl who gave him the drink being arrested, decided not to press charges when he found out that she was the same age as his younger sister. His choice spoke volumes about his character. Although punishment would have been called for, chose empathy. Today, is a K-pop legend. In fact, was even chosen as the only Asian performer invited to Michael Jackson's tribute concert and will live forever as K-pop's dancing king. The final artist on our list is 4th-gen idol Kim Yohan. Before turning to the entertainment industry, Kim Yohan started in the world of sports, where he was an admired national taekwondo athlete. Despite his success, Kim Yohan made the bold decision to leave behind sports to become an idol. With only 3 months of training behind him, in 2019, Kim Yohan joined the reality survival show Produce X101. The odds were stacked against him, especially when competing with the more experienced trainees, but his determination and raw talent shone through, earning him the very first place. Talking about his success, Kim Yohan told @Star1 magazine, "I was very worried after completely switching my path from a taekwondo athlete to becoming an idol trainee. But I appeared on Produce X101 and received a lot of love. It feels like a miracle. I'm trying to get used to the new lifestyle that changed since my debut." Debuting as the center of X1, one of the most anticipated groups of 2019, Kim Yohan shone as the group held their debut showcase as one of Korea's biggest domes, the Leeteuk Sky Dome. But then a crisis hit. X1 had barely begun when, just 5 months after their debut, they disbanded in January of 2020. The reason? A massive vote-rigging scandal took the entire Produce franchise when it was revealed that the show's producer, An Jong-young, had been manipulating the rankings all along, meaning X1's lineup wasn't actually chosen by fans. With the foundation of the group built on a lie, despite the members' potential, X1 had no choice but to disband. For Kim Yohan, the result was devastating. Overnight, he lost his position as X1 center, and on top of the disappointment, he was hit with a wave of hate comments. Reflecting on that time, he told @Star1 magazine, "I thought about giving up on becoming an idol, but I held on with the mindset that, if something doesn't budge, keep pushing until it does. Nothing is impossible if you decide you can do it. True to his words, Yohan didn't give up. Later that year, he was announced as a number of Way, and with this new group, he got a fresh start. Kim Yohan has also since debuted as a successful soloist. Talking about his future, Kim Yohan told Vanity Teen, "I don't really think I'm going to be doing something different than I am now. I'll continue to show myself as both a singer and as an actor as I'm currently able to do. I would want to be doing these things again in 10 years. Well, the 7 idols we've taken a look at in this video show that K-pop success is rarely overnight, and that behind every performance usually lies years of blood, sweat and tears, as idols have to fight and push through the harsh entertainment industry. What do you think? Are there any other idols with stories that should be on this list? Let me know in the comment section below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more like this.